We once found a platinum and diamond ring that was headed for the junk jewelry jar, and we sold it for $1,000. You want to know the scary part? It had been sitting in the back room for months. Imagine how many t-shirts you have to sell to pick up $1,000. So I'm going to show you how some thrift stores are doing 10% of their total revenue just from donated jewelry. Trust me, there's gold and silver in their donations. And don't take my word for it. Go to shopgoodwill.com. Right now, as of recording, they have 18,000 pieces of jewelry listed. All of those were found in donations. It's just incredible. A decade ago, when I started in Thrift, most of that donated jewelry went into glass jars that we sold in bulk for $10 or $20 each. It was quick and easy money, and they flew off the shelves. I was told crafters bought them for their projects, which made sense, but their popularity really made me wonder what was going on. So I dug through a batch. What I found shocked me, and it's probably happening in your store right now if you're not sorting through every single one of those. Sterling silver spoons twisted into rings, Native American pendants, silver belt buckles, delicate gold chains, silver coins. And I'm not a gemologist in any way. $1 million stores are doing over $100,000 in donated jewelry alone. So how do you capture that value? It starts with security, because if you're not locking it up, it's already gone. All donated jewelry should be separated from other donations and secured immediately. And I mean all of it. Party beads, potential gold, everything. Use a locked box and slide in it if you need to, or better yet, a safe with one of those one-way drops in it. And why? Because jewelry is the easiest thing to misplace and to steal. And it's always been my contention, if you make it easy enough for people to take things, a larger percentage will. If you make it harder, very few people are going to mess with it. We caught a trusted long-term employee stealing silver, gold, gems, especially rings. And he worked in fresh donations as they came in. He'd been selling his ill-gotten goods at a local pawn shop. They had quite a win-win deal going on. We caught him after an associate tipped us off that something funny was going on. And he had an amazingly slick way of palming items and slipping them in his pocket, even when he was working right next to other people. Thankfully, we had a CCTV system that allowed us to figure out what he was doing. But he was so slick and so good, he'd obviously been doing it for a long time. If you work with court-ordered community service people, securing jewelry right away really isn't optional. Okay, so it's locked up. Now comes the part that makes all the difference, the right person doing the sorting. And let me add this quote from Sam Walton, founder of Walmart. A computer can tell you down to the dime what you've sold, but it can't tell you how much you could have sold. And that's jewelry donations in a nutshell. You need people who know what to look for. This works best with people that understand the niche and enjoy it. You don't need a certified gemologist. A former jewelry store salesperson's great. Online jewelry resellers, even those glass jar friends, can become productive employees. More than anything, they need an interest in and basic understanding of jewelry. And when someone tells me they know jewelry, I ask them two questions. What does 0.925 mean? And what about 12, 14, 16, 18, 22? They have to be able to answer those basic questions before we even continue the conversation. FYI, 0.925 is a silver purity rating commonly found in jewelry, and 12, 14, and so on, of course, is a gold purity rating. Every professional needs professional tools, and here's what you need. A precision jewelry scale. Get exact weights on precious metals and gem. That's critical for pricing and for selling. A gem tester. Not everything that sparkles is a diamond, and it saves you from an embarrassment and builds customer trust. Some stores photograph the tester result and display that with the item. Precious metal tester. Just because something says 18K doesn't mean it is. And here's a fraud trick. I've seen clasps marked with 18K, but only the clasp was that real gold. The rest of the necklace was plate. So beware. Diamond tester, obvious reason. A jeweler's loupe, those tiny numbers can be almost impossible to read. So keep one of those at the counter too, so customers can inspect them. Good lighting. specifically daylight mimicking lights at a sorting table. It makes spotting that real gold and reading those tiny markers so much easier. And then you really need jewelry cleaners and polishers, making things look their best. All of that will run maybe $250 on Amazon, and that's a great investment for multiplying your returns. And if you're selling online, you need a really good quality camera with a macro lens so you can get those super close-ups. You need to show every scratch, every nick, every little defect, or that thing's coming back at you. So overshoot those pictures. And even a good safe, maybe $500 or so. Sounds like a lot, but not losing one diamond ring can pay for that. And then limit who has access. Keep the number of people who can touch jewelry to an absolute minimum. And then create a dedicated space. And if you can't dedicate it a room or have a full-time dedicated space, at least keep it out of the way so people wandering by aren't tempted. But there are several levels of product you're going for. It's not just the $1,000 ring that's going to make you money. First, of course, is the precious metals, the gold, the silver, and the gems we've been talking about. Then you've got that everyday costume jewelry, Claire's, Target's, Kohl's, good-looking stuff at value prices. And that's only going to sell for a few dollars, but that's a huge chunk of money if you do that right. And a little bit more on that in just a little bit. And then there's name brand jewelry. Look for what's hot. Vogue has a really good article on brands by Charlotte Diamond. So take a look there. And then vintage jewelry, Bakelite's one thing, but there's a lot of vintage jewelry, especially in brooches, that can have some real value. There are a lot of helps online to help you find that stuff. And then there's what's left over, those broken bits and pieces, the miscellaneous stuff. That's what still goes in glass jars, and there's value to that. There are crafters and there are people that will buy those hoping you miss something. So pretty much every little bit and piece is going to end up generating at least a little bit of revenue for you. Get the cream of the crop, start capturing that, and then start working your way down that food chain. But the real key to this whole thing is a trustworthy employee that has the patience to dig through tangles of jewelry and find those little treasures. So, all right, now you've sorted it, you know what you have. How do you actually sell it and make money? The bread and butter is what I mentioned earlier, is that cheap costume jewelry, selling for $2 to $5. The best way to do that is to card it and put it on a spinner rack or a slat wall to pick up those impulse sales. That rack should be in a high traffic area where employees are commonly found. I like putting them at the checkouts. Some people put them over by the fitting rooms. I think that's just an invitation to steal. And here's my pet peeve: cheap jewelry in locked cases. Yeah, it reduces theft, but it also kills sales and really increases labor costs. And I had an aha moment on that a while back when I was watching an employee behind a glass case showing someone $3 or $4 rings. She had to unlock the case, pull stuff out, put stuff away, pull more stuff out, and stand there while this customer acted like they were buying a wedding ring. And eventually they couldn't decide. I mostly saw the labor cost meter spinning and spinning and spinning, certainly faster than the value of what she was showing. The gain just wasn't worth the pain. So if you have glass cases, put gold, silver, the better stuff in it, and take the risk on the rest. Now, on real high-end items, most thrift shoppers won't pay $1,000 for a diamond ring, even if it's an amazing value. And there's security concern. Anything over, $200, $300 is kind of my thing. So for those occasional one-offs, sell them online. You'll get the most bang for the buck, and it won't disappear on second shift on Saturday night or whatever. So some platforms to consider is, if you're in the Goodwill universe, shopgoodwill.com is a fantastic site. Ruby Lane is really good for higher end. Amazon and eBay. Etsy is good for vintage especially. But the key is matching the right jewelry to the right platform, and then you'll do the best. So as I mentioned earlier, jewelry is easy to conceal and it's easily lost in the flow of donations. So here's a few best practices. Lock in a cabinet with a slot on top or a safe. In the processing area, only authorized people are allowed, no visitors. No personal items, no purses or things like that in that work area, lunch bag, snacks. Have a camera covering that space 24/7 and be public with everybody that you've got cameras watching. High value items should go in a log, be verified, dealt with properly, and frankly put in the store safe where the money's kept. Even a simple security like a Ring camera watching those areas can act as a deterrent. I believe in trust but verify, even with highly valued and long-term employees. Almost any metric you use, sales per square foot, labor percentage, add-on sales, donated jewelry is a winner. And if you're doing a little, see how you can bump things up. If you're still a glass jar seller, there's a ton of opportunity just waiting for you. So go through those donations yourself. You'll be amazed at what you find. I'll see you on the next video.